What's good, YouTube? We got a great day today. Today, I have my client Khalif. We worked together for about 7 to 8 months, and within that time frame, he went from 306 pounds to 243 pounds with me, and now he's walking around today at 225 pounds, more confident than ever. And today, I just want to share his story and just get an insight of like through Khalif, like what he went through, what he experienced. So therefore, you guys could take value from it, and most importantly, do it for yourself as well too. But yeah, before we get started, man, like before you started working with me, what did you like? What did your body look like, and how were you feeling about yourself?
So when we first started working, so I started working with Carl. I was a ex football player, college football player.
Mhm.
Like he said, I was at 305 pounds, 306 pounds. That was my highest.
Mhm.
I gained a lot of weight after having two shoulder surgeries.
Mhm.
So I kind of didn't really pay attention to what I was eating. I was kind of climbing up, getting heavier and heavier, looking, being honest, sloppier and sloppier by the time, by the
Mhm.
time I realized I was, somewhere I didn't want to be. So, I sat there, and when I ended up transferring to a new school, and I stopped playing football just for my health. And from that moment, from when I worked with Carl up until that moment, I was going down little by little, but once I really like focused with Carl, and this past winter is when we really locked in.
Mhm.
I just decided I need to lock in and to fix my body, to fix the way I look. I want to look better. I want to be where, closer to where I'm at now, a few
Mhm.
months ago. I want to be here. Um, and the one thing that Carl always told me was, what would your 225-pound self act right now? Back when I was, 285, 290 pounds.
Yep.
And that was always something I had to think about based off my actions, based off what I ate, based on how I thought about things, based on how I went to the gym. So yeah, hopefully that answers that question.
Now, 100%, bro. It's something I tell people to this day. Like, you got to put yourself in a position to of where you want to be, because when you put yourself in that position, then your mindset completely shifts from I feel frustrated about this to okay, I know what I need to do now to be able to get this. So yeah, 100%, bro. And one thing, even talking about frustrations, like when you first came to me, like what was your biggest frustration, like to get you started? What do you feel like was the main cause?
Just I just didn't like the way I was looking. I didn't like the way that my body was feeling. I didn't like the way I just didn't like what I looked like when I woke up. If I'm being honest, I didn't have a hate for myself because I love myself always, but I knew that there was a spot where I needed to change. Change a lot.
I love what you said there. You love yourself always. And I think the biggest like showing of self-love is when you take care of yourself, right? Because at the end of the day, loving yourself means taking care of your body, means being your healthiest version. And when you love yourself, I always say like prioritize your health in a way where you're reflecting that love like when you look in the mirror. So 100%, bro. And now I know you used to be an athlete, always running, when you were a lineman. For you, when did you start to notice like you weren't the same physically and that things need to change?
It was less on, honestly. It was after my first shoulder surgery I had, and I was already around, like, 295. That's what I was playing at, my weight.
Yeah.
When I was just on the field, like, I felt stronger, but I just felt less mobile. A lot less mobile. And with me, a big key to my game was being a lot more agile and faster than other people,
Mhm.
right? But as I climbed, weight and got heavier, I lost that touch, which enabled me to be better than other people.
Mhm.
And I didn't notice it in the moment,
Yeah.
but after and watching, film, and really realizing how much of a disadvantage
Mhm.
I'm at being that much heavier than other people,
Mhm.
I realized, like, dang, like, I'm not the same as I was before.
I know how that feels, man. I
Yeah,
tore my ACL twice, pursuing basketball. You slow down after a while. You're like, damn, what
yeah,
happened?
yeah, literally, yeah.
1,000%, man. All right. And like for you, what was that moment that I told you, that gave you like that breaking point where you're like, I need to change something? Because I feel like we all have that moment, right? For me, that moment, and I rarely share this, was when I was 17. I overate so much, bro. I woke up in a better throw up. Like no
Wow.
shit. Woke up in a better throw up. And if I didn't sleep face down, I would not be here right now. So that was my breaking moment. For you, like what was your breaking moment?
It was, again, it's gonna be similar to my answer before. It was just when I would wake up, look in the mirror. I don't really think it was just a specific time. I think it was just a culmination of everything leading up. Really, really, what really, really motivated me was when I first started working with you and we took that first progress picture.
Yeah.
When I took that picture and I really saw what I looked like from an outside perspective, not just me standing here.
Mhm.
I was like, I'm glad I'm starting now, but dang, I got to start now,
Yeah. Facts. Facts. And before working with me, like, what were you trying? Like, what things were you doing, and what do you feel like didn't work?
So to be honest, I was I didn't really know a lot about losing weight.
Mhm.
I just thought I didn't know anything about, as simple as it is, calories in, calories out,
Yeah.
making sure you have, your macros are correct. I didn't
Mhm.
know anything about that. So I was really kind of like just eating less, but also eating like eating less throughout the day and then eating a big meal at night, right?
Mhm.
And even though for some people that works, right? But my big meal was like like enormous meal for no reason.
Yeah.
And I thought that I was going about it right, and I was like getting my protein in and this and that, and I was getting my protein in, but with 70 grams of fat in one meal. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And like that's not sustainable. And now I know that, of course, but back then that's what I was trying. That's what I was going through. And I couldn't, I had to swallow my pride and be like, I don't know this. I don't know what I'm doing. I need to
Mhm.
find somebody who knows what they're doing
Yeah.
so that they can teach me, because I want to get better.
Basically, next thing I want to ask, like, a lot of guys, watching this feel like they're too busy. And one thing that I want to give context is when we started, you were in school, you were fresh off of soldiers like surgery, and you were, getting ready for finals, and you just had a lot of things on your plate. What was that like that gave you the confidence to be able to handle it? What do you feel like gave you that chance to say, I can still do this while dealing with everything that's coming at me in life?
So I actually really like that question because for me, I don't. For me personally, I know everyone's life is different, but I
Mhm.
don't like giving the excuse that I'm too busy or being told that someone's too busy,
Yeah.
especially for their health. So for me, it was really organizing my priorities. So what was most important to me,
Mhm.
and what needs the most attention.
Yeah.
So obviously, school was the number one priority. Around that time, football was definitely a high priority.
Mhm.
And when I went into this new venture for my health, that was also a high priority. So they were kind of all the same. So I had to really just find a way. I had to find a way just to balance each one. And the best thing is about losing weight and fixing your diet is that you eat every day.
Mhm.
Every day you eat.
Yep.
So all you have to do is find a way to fix what you're eating because you're
Mhm.
going to eat anyways, right? You're going to do it every day. So
100%.
fix that and it's going to come on naturally. That's how I see it. I was like, you know what? I do this every day. I'm going to have to eat every day. I'm
Mhm.
not going to go starving. So let me find a way how to make what I'm eating a little bit better in the meantime. So then progressively, as I keep eating every day like a normal human being,
Yeah.
it's gonna make me better.
Mhm.
And for me, it was a little easier with school because the food's cooked already. So,
Yeah.
I don't really have to go through that extra effort of cooking, doing that. All I had to do was weigh it out, just
Yeah.
read it and weigh it out. That's it, you know? So for other people, I feel the biggest thing is just really realizing what's most important to you. And at the end of the day, time's gonna keep going on. So it's either you do it now or you do it never. That's how I see it. You know what I'm saying? And for me, it was then. I had to do it right there. So I was never gonna do it.
That's powerful, man. It's either you do it now or you do it never. That right there is so true
Yeah.
because that's really what it comes down to, And I love what you said is that you're going to continue eating. It's
Hmm.
either you make those micro changes to be able to be healthier, or you're just gonna keep eating the same way, and things are never gonna change. I
Exactly.
love it, bro. That was a fire. That was fire answer. I love that. But for you overall, like through that process, do you feel like anything was difficult? Like, what do you feel like was something that you had to overcome that was a roadblock in the past?
So definitely just eating at night. That
Yeah.
that's really the biggest thing because for me it's probably a problem with a lot of people, but like I can not snack throughout the whole day because I know there's another meal. There's another meal coming. But when it gets after dinner,
Yeah.
I know mentally there's not something else I'm going to eat.
Mhm.
So it was very hard for me just to like, be a little hungry at night,
Mhm.
knowing that I'm in, a caloric deficit
Yep.
and just having to really push myself and be like, no, like I know you may not see a difference tomorrow or the next day or in the next week,
Mhm.
but in the next month, you're gonna be like this. You're gonna see, you be like, whoa, like dang, like I'm really changing.
Yep.
And those little times that, and not everyone's perfect.
Mhm.
Sometimes I snack, sometimes even me now,
Yeah.
but like the biggest thing is focusing on not reversing all the work you did the week prior. Because if you go and have one bad night, all the work you did throughout the whole week, basically gets wiped out, and that's the last thing you want. So the biggest thing is really, really just reminding yourself in the moment. I don't need this. I've had this my whole entire life. When I get smaller or in another time, I can have it every once in a while. But for right now, I gotta lock in. That's basically the biggest thing I I went about. And definitely another big thing is having someone holding you accountable. You held me accountable. I was honest. I don't want to lie because I'm only cheating myself if I'm saying, oh, I'm eating right and I'm not. So when I would cheat, I would tell you, and you would tell me, yo, the guy can't do this. Stop BSing. We can't do that. And it made me feel like, all right, like he's there, he's on my side, he wants me to do better. I gotta do this for myself. I gotta make sure that everything is, how it's supposed to be. Because he's gonna hold me accountable the same way I hold other people accountable. So that's a big thing.
1,000%. What I love about that, it's like what you said is we weren't perfect. We were never perfect for let's say the entire time we worked together. There were times you did overeat, and there were times we would just have some tough love and just make those micro adjustments to continue moving forward. So I want people out there to know there's no such thing as perfection when it comes to your diet. It's about just adjusting to your life and understanding that what you're working towards and being able to make better decisions on a day-to-day basis based off what you're working towards. So yeah, 100%, bro. You're never gonna be perfect. You just got to keep going with it, man. Now for you, man, how long did it take you before you started seeing real results? When was it that were like, oh shit, things are changing now, I need to keep this going? When did you feel that?
So in my journey, it's been about 2 years, I think, since from here till to where I'm at now. It's been on and off with my diet. I haven't been super consistent in the past. Honestly, I would say a little bit, probably towards the end of when me and you started working, around that 240 mark. Started seeing some muscles coming out, some parts of my form, some being more vascular, and I was like, yo, I want to see more of this. It was always something I wanted, but when I started visibly seeing it on my body, I was like, this is an addiction now. I want that more. So I would say the biggest changes I saw was between the bottom of 240 and 230, between that range. That's when obviously I look how I see now, but that's when I was like, damn, I really see, I'm getting there.
And for you, when you did start seeing your changes, how did your energy change? How did your confidence change? Just overall, how did that impact your day to day?
So energy, 100%, it did a 180. We spoke about, I remember one of the biggest things you told me was the gym is, you shouldn't be going to the gym and be like, oh, I got to go to the gym today. It has to be something where you say, I get to go to the gym today. And that took me, I was always in the gym, for a long time playing football. And it was something I had to do, right? That's how I felt. I had to go to the gym. I have to get stronger, right? As I started lowering, going down in weight and stuff like that, it really flipped to an enjoyment of going to the gym. This is my free time. This is my empty the head time. You know what I'm saying? So as I kept going to the gym and losing weight, it just became more and more of a privilege for me to go to the gym. It just felt good. It didn't feel like a drag. It has never felt like a drag. Even when I'm tired, I still feel, I have a smile on my face going to the gym because I know I'm going to see myself getting stronger. In a month, I'm going to be bigger, faster, bigger as in, muscular wise, and confidence wise, I just saw myself going in a direction where I was hitting my goals. I'm not really a big, look in the mirror, flex myself all the time, but sometimes I go, after the gym, I'll check how I look, but I'm not really, egotistical in my head about that stuff. Right. But I would see it and I'm like, dang, man, I'm getting to where I want to be. It's all about my goals and what I wanted to get to. And the confidence really flipped when I saw myself being consistent and really showing myself I could do it. You know what I'm saying? That's the biggest thing.
Oh, that right there is so true. I think a lot of people sometimes when it comes to the gym, they think they're supposed to gain that confidence the first day. They're supposed to gain that sense of, clarity behind everything the first day, but that's not true. And one thing I always tell people, it's you have to take the action steps. So therefore you can build your confidence in the things that you want. Like you're not going to go in there and squat, let's say 315 and just be like, oh, I'm confident in squatting now. No, you're going to slowly start with 135, go to 225, go to 315. And overall, that's how you build your confidence. So I love that because consistent action is what creates confidence. Confidence is never something you're born with. It's something that just naturally happens as you do more of what you said you were going to do. So 1,000%. And one question I want to ask, like, what did I do differently as a coach compared to like what you expected and like, or what have you tried before? Like, what was different about like our system and our like foundation and what we laid out?
Number one biggest thing was, the tough love. Like for me, that's a lot of, of my background in football. Like I like to be, coach hard. Like, tell me when I'm wrong, tell me when I'm right, tell me what to do better. Like that's what I need. And if I do something wrong, like, check me about it. But for me personally, I didn't have any other experience with any other coach, right?
Mm-hmm.
But based off this one experience, it's going to be probably the best experience I'm going to have with the coach.
Mm-hmm.
Just having someone that will hold you accountable, will keep you on track, and your passion for a person, me, you never met me in real life, but your passion for keeping me on track and making and helping me get to where I wanted to be, right?
Mm-hmm.
So my goals I told you I wanted to do, and you holding me accountable to those goals,
Yep.
that's something that, even though I paid for your service, that's something money can't buy. You know what I'm saying? Because it's thousands, millions of trainers, but only a select few will be able to, treat their clients like how you treated me, which is why we worked together for a long time. I came back and, I trusted you with my goals and my day-to-day life. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like anybody who's going to work with you, it's not about having tough skin. It's about understanding that you're going to help them. Like you're here to help them. And the only thing that's going to block you is going to be yourself. If you feel a way about what you're saying or what Carl's saying to you, or you don't like the way he talked to you in a certain way, there's ways to go about that. But at the end of the day, there's one goal, and that's to make you better.
100%.
So that's how I got it. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
That's the biggest thing that I don't see with other coaches, and I've experienced with you. And that's something I continue with myself, with my friends. Hold you accountable. That's a big thing. Hold you accountable because you told me you want to get to this goal. So you're not going to tell me and BS me. You're going to tell me because you want to do it, right? So let's do it. And that's it.
Facts. And even when it comes to like tough love, like for me as a coach, I'll give you my perspective. There is a way to say certain things to get it right through their mind to where it's not like I'm attacking you, but I'm actually helping you, right? Because one thing I always say, the minute we start, I'm on that ass. And I mean that, because I want to ensure that you do the little things to just help you, because once you just do the little things, and again, I always lay this out when we first start, it's like, I don't expect perfection. I just want the consistent action and consistent effort, and that will lead to progress. It always does. Like people, I think, overestimate like the amount that a little bit of action can actually get them. Like they truly overestimate that. So yeah, 100%, man. You got to stay accountable because that's like the biggest thing. But talk to your friends, family. Like since you have this transformation, how has everything been outside the gym? When it comes to your relationship, career, and how people treat you.
So, it's definitely more of a respect level for myself, for what I say. And overall with, my friends and family, my relationships, the biggest thing that, helped me get through this all was my relationship with Jesus Christ. That's the biggest thing for me. Really focusing again on my health, my wealth, all that stuff, mentally, physically, emotionally. I've instilled a lot of changes in my own house because I can't eat how my family would eat normally, right? So it would be revolving around how my needs, as selfish as it sounds, but if because regardless, what I'm eating is going to be 10 times healthier than what you're going to make, right? So if I continue to promote this healthy lifestyle, this healthy food, this healthy diet, it's going to impact positively my family, which it has. Right? They've learned stuff. They've asked me stuff. They've even got a scale. I got my mom a scale. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's good. It's great moments. And, just having people, the biggest thing I notice is a lot of people ask me questions about fitness now, right? Because when you hear it from a person that's bigger, it's going to have less meaning than a person who's fit, if we're going to be honest, right? like as messed up as it sounds, I was a big guy, so people didn't really listen to me when it comes to fitness. Now I'm a little smaller. People come to me like, "Yo, how'd you do that? Like, what'd you do? How'd you go about it? What's the best things to eat?" You know,
Mhm.
and I like it because I like to teach people things. Not
Yep.
saying like I want to know everything, but
Mhm.
like if people come, I like to help people. You're gonna ask me a question, yeah, I'll help you. You know, that's just the type of guy I am.
Mhm.
So that's really the biggest thing I've noticed is people are more inclined to talk to you, inclined to ask you questions, and I guess to me, I'm less intimidating when it comes to things like that.
Mhm.
So yeah, that's a positive change I've seen.
That's crazy. When I first started like coaching, I was in person, so I created a gym in my garage. And now that gym, my mom and dad just use it.
Yeah,
And it got to the point where now my little brother uses it, and everybody's now just like what you do sometimes bleeds off everybody else because once they see that you actually can do it, and that's when they're in the mind of like, I can do this too. What's holding
exactly.
me back? Like that's why I always encourage people like if you want to lose weight and you want it badly and you know like especially like dads or somebody who's an older brother, it will impact the rest of your family. Because the minute
Definitely.
you're fit, your brother and your kids are gonna look at you like, I want to get fit too. Fuck, let me hit the gym. Like that's how I got started because my dad was in shape his entire life, and me, I got a little bit overweight. I looked at him one day, I'm like, man, screw this. And I actually started just working on myself. So 100%, bro. Because one of the biggest things I always say is like monkey see, monkey do, because what you do will bleed off other people. 1,000%.
That's
Now, man, a few, more questions. It's like if a guy was watching this right now and is in the same spot as you, like when you first started, what would you tell him?
I would tell them it's not going to be easy. It's
Mhm.
not going to be easy, but it's simple,
Yep.
right? Not everything that's simple is easy.
Hmm.
Um, but I would say it's worth going for it. You know,
Yeah.
because the biggest thing for me was I always felt like I was on a time crunch with athletics and stuff. I always felt like I had to be in a certain place in a certain time.
Hmm.
Forget all that.
Yeah.
Once you start, it's all on you. You can set a time frame, but setting time frames might, hinder your mental if you don't get where you want to be at a certain time, right? But once you start, hard work doesn't guarantee success, but it guarantees a chance.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
So if I was, let's say, restarting or in another man's place, just get started. Just try things. It doesn't hurt to try. Just try things, and you will figure it out. If you keep looking for it, you will find the answer. And yeah, that's basically it.
Oof, that was a bar, bro.
Yeah.
Art doesn't guarantee success, but it guarantees a chance. Whoo! I'm stealing that. I'm stealing that, bro. Holy shit, that was a bar. Oh, okay, okay. Shit, you just gave me a few ideas.
Got you, bro.
Awesome, man. But yeah, like, what's your message? Let's say now to let's say a guy who does want to start, but like keeps pushing off to Monday. Like, what's one thing you would tell him? Like one word, like one word of action. What would you tell him?
Patience.
Mhm.
I would say patience. It sounds a little confusing when you're kind of pushing everything off, but everyone wants things to happen like this.
Mhm.
That's how the day and age is.
Yeah.
And that for me personally, I wanted it this fast that I kept procrastinating it for
Mhm.
some reason. That's
Yeah.
just how I was going about it,
Mhm.
right? But what I would say is, like you said, the first day in the gym, you're not gonna be confident. Well, you may be, but you're not gonna be as confident as when you lose weight. You're not gonna be as strong. You're not gonna be as big. You're not gonna be as fast.
Yep.
It happens, right? But over time, as you are patient and you
Mhm.
go through things and you make those micro changes in your life, like I said before, you may not see a change tomorrow, the next day, the next week, or even the next month. You may not,
Yeah.
but the next 2 months, next 3 months, you will see a change.
Facts.
It's just you have to be patient. And even when you don't see a change and you get in your head about it, or you don't see the scale move, just be patient. Things
Mhm.
change. You
Mhm.
are you are if you calculate what you got to do, you will be where you want to be. You just gotta be patient.
100%.
So that's the biggest thing was being patient
Mhm.
with everything.
1,000%. Shit, I gotta take that too. I gotta be a little bit more patient as well. But yeah, man, last question is like, would you recommend working with me, to athletes or people that are struggling when it comes to losing weight and just trying to get back in shape?
100%. Again, even though he's the only coach that I worked with, I just know that it's an experience I wouldn't get in a lot of places. I would not get it. So it's a very unique experience in a good way, very specific experience working with Carl, and it's only been positives on my life. We stopped working how many months ago? Like
I think January 23rd, so like 6 months ago.
around there. And everything that we've learned and he taught me, I've continued it. Right. I've lost 25 pounds since we worked, and again, it's a mindset change, but also a lifestyle change, because by the time you realize it, when you make all these little changes, your life's going to be different. And I would have never known three-quarters of what I've learned now without working with Carl. You know what I'm saying? So it may not be Carl, it may be someone else,
Yeah.
but specifically to Carl, it's definitely an experience that it was important. It's very important to me in my life. It changed my life, and I'm humble enough to say that, and I appreciate you. So anybody who's looking for a trainer, that's that guy right there.
Yes,
He's
sir. And that's
one of the ones.
one thing I try to do is just set the standard, man. Because when you set that standard, it puts you in a position where now your standards are higher, right? Like that was my biggest thing when working with you. It's like show you that you can have a higher standard for yourself and you can consistently achieve that standard. Because that's where a lot of people, like I think, fall short when it comes to fitness. It's they feel a certain way and that's their current standard. And they see that, they want to get to that standard. And it's like, oh, that's very hard. It's very difficult. But like you said, if you have patience and, you're willing to take action every day, over time, you can shift your standards and really achieve the goals that you want to. So absolutely, man. But yeah, man, appreciate you. Thank you for hopping on, man. Like, you have anything else you'd like to share and say before we get off?
Nah, man, just, don't procrastinate. Get to it.
Facts.
Don't wait till Monday, just start today and it'll change. Just be patient. That's it.
And for you, like, what's next for you, man? You're at 225 now. Like, what's next? I want to see, like, what's going on? What's happening?
Definitely I want to cut down to when I see some abs. I'm not there yet, but I want to probably around 200. I'll see something like that. But I definitely want to get back up in weight, so I want to drop down, lose a little bit more body fat, and bulk back up to 225. That's what I want to be. Just looking a little differently.
Yeah, I bet. Let's go, man. Let's go. Well, I appreciate it.
Don't worry about it.
And yeah, man, thank you for hopping on. And you guys heard it from him, man. Like when it comes to this, like it's possible, it's doable. And just a matter of taking it one step at a time, man. Let's go. Pray to the Lord, man. Thank you, man. Thank you guys for watching. That was Khalif. We went from 306 to 243. And biggest thing I want you guys to take away from this is that, your goals are achievable. It is possible. And now it's just a matter of just taking action and making sure that you just show up for yourself, man. Like one thing that he said it was powerful. It's that, you can't expect success right away. But you can give yourself a chance, bro. Like give yourself the chance to be healthier and just be in a better position to where when you look in the mirror, you're just more confident within yourself. But with that being said, I hope you guys have a great day. Stay beautiful, stay blessed. Peace.